Hello everyone, welcome to week 3. Today I'm presenting on week 3, which focuses on cybersecurity, privacy, and Snowden-Ledgett debate, or Snowden-Ledgett debate. The main question this week asks, how much surveillance is justified in the name of security? So my position is that security matters, especially with cyber attacks and like national threats, but privacy should not be treated like an optional like collateral damage. In other words, protecting people should not automatically mean watching everything that they do. Okay, this week focuses on cyber attacks, privacy, and ethical analysis, and class discussion. The whole goal is to identify common cyber attack methods and then analyze different ethical positions related to privacy and cybersecurity. The assigned materials include Chapter 3 on cyber attacks and cybersecurity, Chapter 4 on privacy, and 2 TED Talk perspectives. Edward Snowden argues that the internet must protect people from mass surveillance, and Richard Ledgett, speaking from the NSA side, argues that intelligence collection can be lawful and necessary for national security. So the big question is where IT professionals should draw the line between protection, transparency, and intrusion. Edward Snowden's main argument is that privacy is not the same thing as secrecy. Privacy is what allows people to think freely, communicate honestly, and challenge power without feeling constantly monitored. Snowden argues that mass surveillance changes the internet from a free space into a watch space. And if people know every message, search, or connection that might be collected or analyzed, they might start changing their behavior. That means surveillance does not just collect information, it can also influence how people live. He pushes for encryption, stronger user protections, and systems that protect rights by default. And ethically, his argument is based on liberty, I think, informed consent, and limiting hidden power. For IT professionals, his view matters because design choices are moral choices, and just because data collection is technically possible or even legal, it does not automatically make it right. Okay, Richard Ledgett gives the other side of the argument. He argues that national security agencies need certain tools to prevent harm. So his position is that intelligence work exists to stop threats like terrorism, cyber attacks, and foreign attacks. Ledgett emphasizes the duty to protect the public. From his point of view, some surveillance can be justified if it is controlled by law and oversight. And he also argues that not all data collection is the same. For example, collecting metadata is often presented as less invasive than reading the actual content of messages. And the strength of his argument is that cybersecurity failures can have consequences, like really bad consequences. They can affect hospitals, banks, infrastructure, and even people's lives. And if you watched my week 1 presentation, or actually my final presentation, then I actually did these swapped. I did my final first. Then you know that the Change healthcare system, actually this showed it almost exactly, where people had delayed insurance, they had delayed access to healthcare, so on and so forth. But back on topic, the weakness is that secrecy can turn into overreach. If the public cannot understand, consent to, or challenge what is happening, then security can become a blank check. My ethical analysis is that both Snowden and Ledgett care about safety, but they define harm differently. Snowden sees harm as the loss of privacy, autonomy, and democratic accountability. And Ledgett sees harm as preventable, threats getting through because the government did not have enough tools. I don't think the answer is zero surveillance, but I also don't think the answer is to collect everything and trust us. You know what I mean? That's where things get sketchy pretty fast. The better ethical position is proportional and accountable cybersecurity. Privacy should be the default, and intrusion should be narrow, justified, and reviewable, and limited. That means using data minimization, real oversight, strong access controls, encryption, and clear rules about how information can be used. My position is that security without rights becomes control, but privacy without any security plan becomes naive. And a responsible IT professional has to care about both. Sorry if I'm covering the research takeaway part. I'll move that afterwards. But the research supports this balance between security, privacy, and trust. Das and colleagues created the Security and Privacy Acceptance Framework, and their research explains that privacy and security behaviors often fail when users lack awareness, motivation, or ability. That connects us to this debate because people cannot make meaningful choices if systems are too confusing, hidden, or burdensome. Goodman critiques surveillance capitalism and argues that constant data extraction can weaken dignity and autonomy. That supports Snowden's concern that privacy losses are not just small trade-offs. Over time, they reshape power. The main research takeaway is that ethical cybersecurity is not only about having better tools, it's also about governance and transparency and trust, like just all together. Oh, and I included the DOIs on the bottom there if you wanted to check any of this. Okay. For a biblical integration, I use Proverbs 11:13, which says a gossip betrays a confidence, but a trustworthy person keeps a secret. I think this connects strongly to privacy ethics because confidential information creates responsibility. In IT, having access to data does not mean every use of that data is morally right. A trustworthy professional protects what has been entrusted to them. They limit unnecessary exposure, avoid careless disclosure, and treat other people's information that they can't monitor themselves with respect. So, from a Christian worldview, cybersecurity should protect people while also respecting their dignity and boundaries. It should not use safety as an excuse to ignore privacy. A simple example that I thought about is when a workplace or school tracks activity for safety or policy reasons. On paper, that sounds reasonable, but depending on how it's done, it can also make people feel watched instead of protected. And that helped me understanding the difference between just doing what feels safe and actually thinking like ethically. Morally, someone might say we are just trying to protect people, but ethically, we have to ask: is the method fair? Is it limited? Does it go beyond the extent of what is morally right? Do people know what is being collected, and like who else can access it besides the person who has authorization to access it? If I were helping design or manage a system like that, I would want clear notice, like minimal data collection and strict access rules. And I think that the balance this week is pushing us towards responsible protection without normalizing unnecessary surveillance. So, for my conclusion, week 3 shows that cybersecurity is not just technical; it's more legal, it's more morally projected, and it's more human. Snowden reminds us that privacy protects freedom, and Ledgett reminds us that governments and IT professionals do face real threats. The ethical answer, though, is accountable cybersecurity. Necessary defense, but like narrow collection, meaningful oversight, and respect for people's information. And for IT professionals, the challenge is not only building secure systems, it's building systems that are worthy of trust. All right, and here's my references. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. And yeah, that's the end. Bye.